breathing and smiling is the simplest thing that we can do. And it is what we were taught in the ancient Aramaic scriptures would activate the frontal lobe of our brain that operates in love and the back lobe of our brain that operates in releasing and letting go anything not of love. So let's breathe again deeply and smile. And let's just allow ourselves to enter into the inner realms of our consciousness and notice anything that's bouncing around in there, the grocery list, what we have to do tomorrow, putting gas in the car, all those things that kind of hammering for our attention. And let's just notice all those things and say, I'm going to take a deep breath. And you all can just go away now. And I'm going to smile and center in love. That we are also letting go of all of the DNA programming, all of the ancient coding that we picked up when we jumped into this body of blame, fear, judgment, control, and allow those things to just dissipate as we take another deep breath and smile and know that there really is no out there. It's coming into creation from the resonance inside of us. And we're learning how to set up a new resonance in the collective of humanity. So let us just sit for a moment, quietly breathe and smile, and notice what our own inner peace feels like. If anything wants to pop up that is worry or fret, just let it go. Breathe and smile, activating those neural plexuses that allow us to enter into peace. It's that simple. Einstein says you can teach a 6-year-old to do it. This is what living in a quantum world is all about. And as we breathe and smile, let's quietly come back to this room and let's visit with each other about how we can change ourselves to change the world. There's a science to how we change ourselves to change the world. We are living in a time that was predicted by many ancient people, many ancient cultures. We've entered a time that the Mayans called the shift of the ages. And this is an ending of an age and a new beginning. I'm sure that many of you are familiar with that idea, but let's look at what that means. So there's a science behind the shift of the ages. We've moved into amplified fields of light. Our whole galaxy has moved to a place in space that it only gets to once every 26,000 years. That amplified light is activating our glandular system, our pineal gland, our pituitary gland, to produce a chemical called DMT, which is a happy chemical. It's similar to serotonin, melatonin, and it gives us this sense of oneness with all things. So even those of us who are not going to the jungle to take ayahuasca, which is why people are doing this, is to activate more of this DMT. We are all being activated anyway. It doesn't matter. We don't have to do the big activation. We are just getting activated in our everyday lives here on planet Earth. And the ancient Aramaic, one of the earliest languages of light on the planet, teaches us to clear our old data because our old data is resonating in this quantum field. Aramaic is literally a language of quantum physics. So all of us, as we jumped into these bodies, we agreed to take on a certain DNA coding that existed in our generations. And we said, I'm willing to jump in there and clear that DNA to love. What we're here to do today and right now. And as we breathe and smile, and when our worry comes up and our fret comes up, is literally old data that was given to us by our ancestors. Oh, well, let's worry about this. Oh, let's be angry about that. Oh, let's say so-and-so is to blame. It's their fault. But the truth is that quantum physics teaches us, and the ancient Aramaic taught us, is there is no out there. This is such a big thing for us to get, because for thousands of years, we've been blaming the bad guys, right? We've been blaming the terrorists and, the people who run that government and the people who have the other religion. We've been blaming all of them for thousands of years. But there is nobody to blame. What that is, we are like a biocomputer, and that is the old data that we carry inside of us of these constructs. Thoth of the ancient Egyptians says, there is no such thing as fear. Fear is a construct of the mind living outside of love, the mind and heart. So the bad guys, the terrorists, the tyranny, made up. It's a story made up by our minds and hearts living outside of love. So this returning to love, breathing and smiling, offloading anything that shows up, saying, I now cancel, clear, release, let go. Anything that shows up in my mind and heart outside of love, and I can center in love. This is really a big practice. It doesn't just happen by accident, and we need to remember it on a daily basis. The biggest thing that I do these days is I see somebody showing up who's cranky, or maybe they have road rage, and I say, oh, look what my frequency pattern drew into my world today. Not, oh, that person must be mad and upset and having a bad day. Look what is coming up for me to cancel, release, and let go. Crisis, governments, politics, banking, economics, planetary systems, our hometowns. It's a mirroring of the collective chaos that is rising to the surface. As more light is coming in, this is being stirred up for us to look at it and say, wow, do I want to participate in this anymore? Or do I want to be one who is holding the frequency of change in this world? Each one of us is like a resonant antenna sending a frequency out into the collective. But as we understand this space between the field of the soul and the 3D world, and we can literally be a resonant frequency in that is changing it, that's upscaling it, that's raising it up into love. And literally, we're going to help change the whole by doing that. So we can do that right here at home. We don't have to go anywhere. So many ancient cosmologies predicted these times. The Earth's magnetics are at the lowest point in 4,000 years. This is science. Guess who showed up at the lowest points in magnetics in Earth's history? Jesus, Buddha, Kuan Yin, Maitreya, whoever you can think of that came as a great teacher to us. They all came at the time of lowest magnetics. Guess why? Because our minds are open to new ideas. We're part of this planetary field. So the possibility, this is Deepak Chopra, the possibility of stepping into a higher plane is quite real for everyone. It requires no force or effort or sacrifice. It involves little more than changing our ideas about what is normal. I call the old system the old matrix. It's like an old computer program. And it told us to run a certain way. It told us to be angry when somebody else got angry at us. It told us that we had to do what we were told instead of listening to our heart, instead of going inside and saying, maybe they're not bad or evil. Maybe this is my old data. So we have an old matrix system, and we're in a glitch in the matrix right now. We are in a space, because the ancient texts were talking about this time. They were talking about quantum physics. They were talking about lowered magnetics. They were talking about a time when we would be in chaos, but we would also be in accelerated change. And so that accelerated change, by us breathing and smiling and becoming poles of love in this world, are changing that chaos into where we're moving into in the future. Dr. Michael Rice, who teaches the ancient Aramaic forgiveness process, says if we'd gotten this 2,000 years ago, we'd be living in a different civilization. The matrix can only mirror that which we give it. That's Greg Braden. Frequency is truth. You know, if I'm angry at my partner in life, say, the field is going to know that, even if I say I'm okay with it. So we need to really get inside ourselves, empty out that old data, breathe and smile, and center in love. If that's all we do, it's that simple. That's how we change ourselves to change the world. It's that simple. If you go away today with one thing, breathe and smile and center in love. By doing this, we change the world. Our awakening process is living in love, moving beyond blame, fear, judgment, hostility, and control. Those are all part of that old garbage can that Harvard studies say is 95%. Our unconscious rises up when we go, oh, that's a terrible leader over in that other part of the world. Oh, that person has road rage. They must be grumpy today. That's our unconscious container rising to the surface. Somebody just showed up who's mirroring that to us. We are sending out a frequency that is going to call in a like frequency. Do we have something terrible going on in our life? Something we don't like? Where do we look? We look in our own old unconscious container and we say, wow, look what my frequency drew in today. I guess I need to cancel and clear that. And you will find as you do this, we've been doing this the last few years, consistently, regularly. Teddy, who's here with me, who's contributor to the book, 21st Century Superhuman Quantum Lifestyle, which I sat with a scarf around my head writing for 8 months. I could hardly talk, and Teddy would come out and knock on the window and bring me food and say, well, how are you today? And I'd say, I'm not the same person I was yesterday. And we have our books with us here today because it's the whole story of how this works. Anything unresolved within our energy field will keep manifesting itself in our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual life until we heal it. There is no escaping this. File and offload our own data to enter into love. Thoughts, behaviors, and emotions send out tangible waves into the field and return to us in the shape of our reality. It used to be not so instantly, but because we've moved into these accelerated fields of light, everything is speeding up. Have you ever noticed if you get angry, you end up dropping something on the floor and breaking it, or you get an instant response out of the field, much faster than it used to be. So we're in a field that is responding to us much more quickly. So meditation, focusing, aligning our energies, all these good things help us to be more clear in this energetic field that is responding more quickly than it used to. Love is the bridge between you and everything. Love is the glue that connects us all in unimaginable ways to do extraordinary things. Do you get up in the morning and go, I'm happy? Yeah, I see a couple of hands. I see a few hands. I want to sing. I want to dance. I want to respond to my heart. This is our truly natural state. This is a big change for us because we culturally have been taught differently than that. I love this Hafiz statement, who was the teacher of Rumi. Sit there right now. Don't do a thing. Just rest. For your separation from God and from love is the hardest work you will ever do in this world. Our separation is the hardest work we'll ever do in this world. We make it easy when we start teaching ourselves, and this is teaching ourselves to breathe, smile, and center in love. When you realize how perfect everything is, you will tilt your head back and laugh at the sky. We are creatures of the Creator of the abundant flow. This is us entering into this field of love and light. May there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Breathe and smile. Namaste. Thanks, you guys.